solving inequalities. Okay, thank you for telling me. We'll go over you feel like you've kind of got a grip on it. You just let me know, and we will wrap it up for you to go. All right, so I'm going to do this first one here just to review. So the first on the left-hand side of our inequality, and we have an x on the right-hand side. So we need to get into the same side. What I like to do is move the variable that is smaller. So the one on the left is 2x on both sides. I did not do anything to my 11. That comes straight down. I wonder why, Maisie. Sorry about that. Maybe if I turn it off back. Okay. Right. So 2x keep our inequality sign, which is greater than, and then we are left with 4 on the right side. So now, oh no, I don't know why. Let me try. If I talk with my video off, does that help at all? Okay. Well. I'm not really sure what to do. I'm assuming it hasn't gotten any better, but I still sound like a robot. Okay. I can check my settings. Let's see here. Okay, does that help at all? I don't really know what I clicked, but can y'all hear me? Okay, do I still sound like a robot? Okay. Let me. I'm gonna get my headset. Let me see if that helps. Okay. What about now? Does that help at all? Better. Okay. We'll try to roll with this. If that helps. Okay. So we have 11 plus x is greater than 4. Remember, I'm solving for x, so I want to move everything away from x. So I'm going to get rid of this positive 11 by subtracting 11. So I'm left with x is greater than negative 7. So if I wanted to graph this on a number line, would I have an open or a closed circle at negative 7? Do y'all remember? Yeah, very good. I would have an open circle at negative 7, and then I want all values in the shade to the right, because that's taking me straight into the positive numbers. So I'm going to shade to the right. Alrighty, let's go ahead and try this one. So the first thing I want you to do is you are going to combine the like terms on the left-hand side of your inequality, and then same thing with these x values on the right. So I'm going to give you a second to do that on your own. Alrighty, so when we take negative 7x and subtract 4x from it, we're actually going to get negative 11x. And on the right-hand side, I have negative 2x minus 8x. So my 8, this original 8 is going to stay, and I have negative 10x. Any questions about how I got to this step? Awesome. Okay, so now we need to get our x variables on the same side. So what I'm going to do is move this 10x. So it was subtracting 10x, so I'm going to do the opposite of subtracting 10x, which is adding 10x. On the left-hand side, negative 11x plus 10x is going to give me negative 1x or negative x. And that is going to be greater than or equal to 8. So now we're almost finished, except the only problem is we have a negative x value, but remember, we want to solve for just x. We don't want to have a negative in there. So we are going to divide everything by a negative 1 to get rid of that negative value. All right, so now we have our positive x value, but when we multiply or divide, we're actually going to switch. So I'm going to get x is now less than or equal to negative 8. Any questions about how I got to x is less than or equal to negative 8? Awesome. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and graph this on my number line. I'm going to put a closed circle at negative 8. And I want all x values that are less than negative 8. So I'm actually going to shade the sign. It is because I multiplied or divided by negative. In this case, I specifically divided by a negative number. So if you multiply or divide by a negative, that's when you, yeah, so the x was negative, and we want to make sure that x is positive. Good question. Yeah, you're welcome. All right, let's do some more practice ones. We're going to start with this one. I'm going to call it number 1. So can y'all tell me in the chat, what do you think would be my first step? What should I do first? Yeah, I'm going to move the 5. Exactly. So well, so I can't do 5 minus 2 because 5 does not have a variable in it. It does not have a t. So 5 minus 2t. Think of it as this. Let's say the 5 was like apples. and T represented oranges. I can't take 2 oranges from 5 apples, right? There's no oranges there. So I cannot subtract. So what I'm going to do, here's my variable, it's T. So what's happening to it? It's being multiplied by -2 and adding 5 to it. So I'm going to undo that +5. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. So I'm left with -2 times t is less than or equal to -8. Okay, what do you think my next step will be? Anybody? What should I do next? Okay, good. Exactly. I'm going to divide, and divide by what? Yeah, very good. Okay, so I'm going to divide everything by -2. So on the left-hand side, I'm going to get t. What do I need to do? I did something very important, so I have to now do something else. What's the tricky part of this problem? I divided by a negative. Good, Sarah. So I'm going to flip my sign. So now I have t is greater than or equal to +4. All right, and then to graph this, I would put a closed circle at +4, and I want all the t values greater than 4, so I'm going to shade to the right. Do I have anybody that would like to volunteer to try to work out number 2 for me on the board? Okay, so what we're going to do instead is you are going to send me, everyone's going to go ahead and work this on their own. I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and you are going to send me in a private message, the one that says question and answers. You're going to send me your final answer for this one. Obviously, you're not going to send me your graph because you can't do that, but go ahead and send me your inequality. Okay, Sarah, so you're really close. Remember that we have to write it as an inequality. So the first thing, for those of y'all that are stuck, we're going to subtract 10 from both sides. Close, Sarah. Okay. So, Sarah, what's 2 minus 10? It's -8. -8. All right, now I'm going to pause here for the rest of you to finish solving. So remember, we're not going to have an equal sign. Your inequality signs are if you hit the shift button and either the comma or the period on your keyboard. That's how you will get to those inequality signs. Good, Ashley, good. Close, Alejandro. So our next step is going to be to divide by -4. When I divide by a negative, I'm going to flip my sign. So now we have x is less than, and -8 divided by -4. A negative divided by a negative becomes a positive. So I get x is, where did that go? Less than 2. So something that some of y'all have been doing on your homework or your quizzes, if you just type in the answer like 2, it will come out wrong, because if you say that the answer is a sign there, but remember, inequalities, it is any number that is less than 2. So it actually could not even include that number here. 3, 1. I would have an open circle at 2, and I'm going to shade to the left. Okay, let's go ahead and try number 3. I'm going to give you a hint here. The first thing you need to do is distribute on both sides. Remember that you can go ahead and send me your answers when you're finished. If you are stuck on a step, okay, so distribute means to multiply. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 6 times 2n. So 6 times 2 is 12, and then we keep our n. 6 times -1 is -6. And we're going to keep our sign, which is less than. On the right-hand side, we have 3 times 2n. So that would be 6n. And then 3 times -3. So that's going to be -9. All right, so now let's go ahead and get our variables on the same side. All right. So our next step would be to subtract 6n. Hopefully y'all do this. I don't have any, but I only have one person that submitted their answer so far. So we would get 6n minus 6 is less than negative 9. All right, anybody got the next step for me? What would my next step be? Anybody? Yeah, good. Add 6. So I'm going to add 6 because we had 6 times n minus 6. So I want to unbacking 6. I want to go ahead and add 6 so that that cancels out to be 0. So I'll get 6n is less than negative 3. Good. Is it Itana? Did I say your name right? Itana, good job. All right, now I'm going to divide by 6 on both sides. Good. So n would be less than negative 0.5, or you could write it as negative 1/2. All right, good deal. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to try some more. We're going to do these 3 and then we will be done. So let's go ahead and work on number 1. So number 1, we want to go ahead and move our 4x to the other side. So y'all tell me in the chat, how do I move that 4x to the other side? Yes, I am going to, I got to get my like terms together. So I got to get them on the track, 4x. So this is a positive 4x. If I want to move it to the other side of my inequality, I have to do the opposite. So I'm going to subtract 4x so that it becomes 0 on the left side. So I get negative 5 is greater than 3x minus 11. What would my next step be? Very good. Yeah, we're going to add 11. Good. So when I add 11, on the left-hand side, negative 5 plus 11 is going to be positive 6. So I have positive 6 is greater than 3 times x. So what would my next step be?
exactly. I'm going to divide by 3. Good. So then what would my final answer be? Good. So everyone divided by 3. Okay. So it would be 2 is greater than x. So if I want to graph this, would I shade to the right or the left? I know I'm going to have an open circle. Let's think about this. 2 is greater than x. So whatever number I plug in over here on the right-hand side has to be less than 2. So for instance, I could ask myself, okay, I'm going to try 100 and negative 100, right? 100 would be over here. This is true. Is 100 is 2 greater than 100? No. Is 2 greater than negative 100? Yes. So that means I'm going to shade to the left. Okay, so that's a good question. I did not flip this sign because the only time we flip a sign is if I multiply or divide by a negative number. So in this problem, I subtracted, so that doesn't change anything. I added, that doesn't change anything. And then I divided by a positive 3. So since I divided by a positive number, I don't flip the sign. Good question. All right, let's go ahead and try number 2. I'm going to give you a hint. This negative 6 needs to be distributed first. Then we will combine like terms on the left side. So y'all go ahead and get started on that one. If you need a little help, I can help you get started. So negative 6n. All right. Anybody got the next step? So we want to make sure that we combine our like terms, and this time our n is on the same side. So we can just go ahead and subtract. So 4n minus 6n, that's going to become negative 2n minus 6 is greater than 12. Good. Some of y'all are responding to me. Good, Aitana. Good. Y'all are doing great. Okay, so the next step is going to be to add 6. Good, Michael. So -2 times n is greater than 18. All right, so my next step, someone tell me my next step, and then also what my next step causes me to have to do after that. Good. I'm going to divide by what? Good, Sarah. Divide by -2. And what happens when we multiply or divide by a negative? Yeah, good. We're going to flip our sign. Exactly. All right. So now n is going to be less than -9. All righty. Let's go ahead and try this last one. This will be the last one that we do. I'm going to give you another hint here. Go ahead and distribute first. Maybe if I can get my pen, there we go. So 5 is greater than 5 times 12 would be 60 minus 5a. Don't forget that negative, that's with that a. So what will be my first step here? Or my next step, I guess? Anybody? Yeah, there you go, Aitana. We're going to subtract 60. So remember, we want to leave our variable alone. Our variable is a, so we're actually going to leave a for right now. We have this positive 60. We need to move away from it. So let's go ahead and subtract 60 from both sides. And if you need to use your calculator, please do. Just type in 5 minus 60. That way we don't make any silly math errors. Okay, we're going to get -55 is greater than -5 times a. Good, we're going to divide. What will we divide by? Good, awesome. Y'all are really getting it. Okay, we're going to divide by -5 and flip our sign. So what does that mean? What would we get? Good, write it as an inequality. Yep, so we're going to get a positive 11. Okay, we got to write it as an inequality. So 55 divided by, or sorry, -55 divided by -5 is going to be positive 11. We're going to flip our sign and we get a. Yeah, positive 11. So that means we want all values that are greater than 11. So 11 is less than a, or 11 is less than any number. Okay, so we want to make sure that the numbers on the right that we would choose for A are bigger than 11.